Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pyro Gaming video. So, I recently did a video showing you my favorite Titan loadouts. You guys liked it, so let's do Hunters. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I bash Hunters like crazy, but this season, I have been enjoying playing on my Hunter. There, I said it, now let's move on. So, as I said in my last video, I went over all the weapons that I've been using. I'm not going to make you guys go back and watch the Titan video if you don't want to, so I'll go over them again in this one. Izanagi's, Recluse, and Wendigo. That is quote-unquote optimal DPS. That is the loadout that everybody is using right now, if they have it. And I am so beyond burnt out on this loadout that I will mix in all kinds of random crap just to make it different. So, before we get into all my PvE stuff, I want to go ahead and get PvP out of the way. So, I do have the Iron Banner armor set that I like, but I got absolutely shafted with the rolls, and it gave me a bunch of solar crap that I have absolutely no use for, so I tried to make the best of what it was. And, yeah. So my typical Crucible loadout is built around sidearms and snipers, because that's what I like. Right now, Lonesome is my favorite kinetic, and Beloved is my favorite sniper. For power weapon, I don't really go for power ammo that much in Crucible, so I just throw on whatever machine gun I happen to have on my character. I like to use Knucklehead Radar because it works well with this Beloved that I have, Snapshot Sights for the panic snipes, and Box Breathing for camping lanes. When I'm camping lanes and hard scoping, that's where the Knucklehead Radar comes in. Now, I build around sniper perks, so I have Enhanced Sniper Rifle Targeting, I have Enhanced Sniper Rifle Loader, Enhanced Unflinching Rifle Aim, and so on. You get the idea. Remote Connection, more super energy back on sniper kills. For my subclass, I go with Top Tree, Gunslinger. It's really fun. I don't really care much for the weighted knife. I like the proximity knife, and I also like to get some super energy back when I get kills with my golden gun. So that is why I use that one. So yeah, that is basically it. If I got better armor, I would prefer to have Void here for these three, so that I can also have some sidearm perks on my armor, because like I said, I really like sidearms right now. I'm really into them. Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically my PvP loadout. The only thing that I will do differently is sometimes I will run Suros in place of the sidearm, depending on the map, depending on how people are playing. And sometimes I'll also run a sidearm here, which I don't have it on me, and I will replace Beloved with Revoker. Basically, if I'm landing my shots good, I stick with Beloved. If I'm missing a lot, I go to Revoker. So that is how that works. But yeah, that's my Crucible stuff. Pretty cut and dry. I'm not a really big Crucible person, so I don't have a lot to go into detail about there. So on to PvE. The main things that I do in PvE are in-game level content. I love raids. I do all the raids except Spire of Stars because I don't like it. I do Garden of Salvation the most because it's the most relevant. It's the newest. I get 970 gear from it. And I also do a lot of 980 content like Master Nightfalls, Master Nightmare Hunts, and things like that. I also do Pit of Heresy a lot. So when I'm going into a Master Nightfall, I'm going to give you guys an example here. Let me open up my map. If I can remember how to open my map with a PC. I don't use mouse and keyboard very often. So this week, when I'm making this video, I'm switching back to controller, fuck this. I'm going to go ahead and show you the modifiers. So we got something like Thune's Stratagem, whatever, I don't give a shit. Match game, equipment locked, mobs, attrition, champion barrier, champion overload, and air superiority. So the main things that stick out here are match game, which I'm pretty sure that's going to be on every single one of the Master Nightfalls. Attrition, you're not going to get your health back unless you pick up these little wells of light. Barrier and overload. These are two important ones. So back to my loadouts here. I'm going to build around that. First off, I have explosive rounds and anti-barrier ranger on this Nameless Midnight, so barrier is taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and pop on Divinity because Divinity has disruption. That is taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and throw on a Bane of Sorrow because I know that Nightfall has a lot of void shields, so that gives me something to break this. Now the only thing that I'm missing here is Solar. I could swap this to Solar, but I'm not gonna because Attrition is on. So I'm going to run Void Battery, and I'm also going to run Wormhusk Crown. So now I am spec'd for that specific Nightfall. So now my teammates would run not Divinity, but they would run Izanagi's. That way I can Divinity the champions, they can Izanagi's them, and we just absolutely tear them up. And alternative, or also they're going to run something in their energy slot that is, you know, moddable, so you can put like a the anti-barrier rounds on oxygen, for example, and it'd be solar. So now we have every shield type that we could possibly come across covered, and we also have our DPS. We also have everything. We're good to go. So I've addressed all of the issues. So I would build around that. So I'd have to go in here and spec my stuff out mainly for the scout rifle, because I have void armor. So that's why you have enhanced rifle loader, scout rifle loader, enhanced unflinching rifle aim, scout rifle reserves. Power ammo scavenger pairs really well with heavy ammo finder, because remember, I have a lot of void shields. I want to make sure that I'm good on power ammo. And finally, void battery, because void battery, whenever I dodge, is going to give me my health back. And I will give you a demonstration of that, because Worm Husk Crown I feel like is super underrated right now, and it's a lot of fun. So look, I'm hurt, I'm about to die. Oh shit, it's all back. I'm fine, don't worry about it, guys. I'm also invisible for a little bit, so I can run away. Super underrated. This is my go-to loadout, typically for Nightfall, depending on the modifiers. Now, if they were arc shields, for example, I would swap to 21%. If they were solar shields, I would switch to edgewise or an avalanche. But that's the basic mindset that I have whenever I'm building a loadout. I look at what I'm going to need, and then I make it happen. I look at what needs to be addressed, I coordinate with my teammates, and we make it so. Now, if I'm going into a Master Nightmare hunt, hang on. Let's stick with the Nightfalls for a second. This is another loadout that I'll use. So this is what I call my rainbow loadout, okay? Because I have void, I have arc, I have solar. So if my teammates are running, things that are gonna take down the champions, shields and everything really good, and I don't have to worry about divinity, if I feel like we have enough firepower, then I will go with Xenophage. Xenophage is really good against champions, but Xenophage is also really good against fucking everything. Xenophage is in a great place right now, and it is super underrated. Same goes for Loaded Question. I feel like Loaded Question is very good. So if I've got a lot of arc shields, like a lot of arc majors that I know are going to be in this Nightfall, I'm going with this. If I've got a lot of solar shields that are going to be in this Nightfall, I'm going with this. So those are the two main Nightfall loadouts that I will use. And yes, as much as I hate it, I will sometimes run the Izanagis if one of my teammates wants to do Divinity or Xenophage or something like that. I'll be a team player. I'm not going to leave them out and leave them on their own there. So that is my basic Nightfall setup. Now, I will mix it up occasionally depending on what Nightfall it is. If it's something where the boss is going to be really far away, I could do like 11 Death. If I'm going to have a lot of Void Shields and I don't feel like running Machine Gun, I have my Swarm of the Raven, and so on. I'm not going to get too into detail about that. Let's go to Master Nightmare Hunts, which I think are really fun. I enjoy that. This is my Nightmare set, so anything that I'm doing that involves nightmares, I will put this set on. This includes Altars of Sorrow, Nightmare Hunts, and so on. Dreambane mods, that's the main reason that I do this set. The loadout is going to be pretty similar to what I do in the Nightfalls, with the exception of the primary. In the Master Nightmare Hunts, you don't need to kill the champions. You don't have to kill them. So I typically run a hand cannon because I like those better than scout rifles. So that's when I'll mix it up a little bit and do like a Better Devils, Loaded Question, Xenophage. I will still run Worm Husk Crown if I know I'm going to be beat up a lot, and that is pretty much that. And same thing that I said about the Nightfall goes for Orpheus Rig. If I know that there's going to be a lot of ads that I can get my super back a bunch on, then I'll go ahead and swap to that. But yeah, Worm Husk Crown has been like my main exotic on my Hunter for some time now, man. It's a lot of fun. So that is the Nightmare mod armor set. So let's talk about raids. If I'm going into Garden of Salvation, my team likes to do a single shield break, and we like to do enhanced relay defender. So all of these have relay defender. The only one that doesn't have enhanced is this one, and that's so that I can have sniper rifle scavenger. And I just spec it around snipers, because typically against the boss, and that's the only time that this armor set really matters, is when I'm at the boss. That's when I actually switch. This is going to be my loadout. It's going to be that sweaty PvE loadout, because Izanagi's is really good for DPS. Now, if I know that I'm playing with a bunch of good people, which I typically am when I'm doing Garden, DPS is going to be fine. So unless we're trying to one phase, I might not use this. I might swap it up a little bit and go with something like Tranquility. I have one with auto-loading holster and firing line. This is great for raids, especially when you're doing the enhanced relay defender thing, because all of your teammates are standing next to you. Recluse is just really good in that raid. I like to do the Gambit team, so it's just great for shredding those ads and getting back. And Anarchy pairs so well with Tranquility, with Firing Line, and Auto-Loading Holster that it's not even funny. So here's how I start. We go into damage, I run to the pillar, I'm standing next to the relay, I tag them twice with Anarchy, swap to Tranquility, fire my 5 shots, swap back to Anarchy. I don't have to reload because it's got Auto-Loading Holster. Swap back to Anarchy, fire 2 more shots. By the time I'm done doing this is already reloaded. I fire 5 more shots into the boss. That's it, damage phase is over. When you do the single break method, it's a really small damage phase, but you get a lot of extra damage with the Relay Defender mods. So that's why I like it. Now, for the rest of the raid, like I said, I'll do this for the boss, like the final boss. I will not use a Firing Line Sniper on the Consecrated Mine, which is the big harpy. The reason I don't use that on him is because you never know where your teammates are going to be. You know, everybody's walking forward. It's too much to try to take care, like keep an eye on what your teammates are doing and whether or not you're going to have Firing Line active. So for the Consecrated Mine, 99.9% of the time, I am running Izanagi's. The only thing that I will swap for that encounter is Wendigo. I will swap it out for one of these two depending on how I'm feeling. And same goes for the final boss. If I'm using Izanagi's as my main DPS weapon, I do really like Wendigo, but if we're conserving our supers, or maybe I know I'm not going to make a lot of orbs, then I will switch to something like a Swarm of the Raven that has auto-loading holster, because 150s with spikes do more damage than 120s without explosive light. And then I also have this full court one here, but the only thing I don't like about this is I couldn't get a roll with auto-loading holster. I don't even know if you can get a roll, but I actually have to reload this and it bums me out. But full court is really good. You get, I think, up to 25% more damage, maybe even more. I don't know, I'd have to look at the numbers. But I'll swap that out too. But for the Consecrated Mine, this is what I do. For the rest of that raid, the first 2 encounters, I will run this right here. This 4 taps Angelics, and it's a lot of fun. This is just great for general ad clear, and I love my Better Devils, so I'm going to do that. And I'll typically have this armor set all the way up to the final boss, because like I said, I don't swap until the very end. So, those are some loadouts. Now let's talk some specialty loadouts that I will throw in the mix every now and then. Let's see. So for some specialty loadouts, if I'm running Middle Tree right here, if I feel like running Blade Barrage, then there's 2 routes that I can go. I'll do my, like if I'm building for a super, I'm going to use Shards of Galanor, because it's the best one for, that thing, Way of 1,000 Cuts. Blade Barrage, I just blinked. I blinked, guys. Anyway, if I'm gonna run, that, then I'm gonna run Shards of Galanor. However, I will sometimes go ahead and take advantage of the Knife Trick. You can increase your damage with Knife Trick. It's really fun to do, and Knife Trick also can give you. Do I have it on me? I don't. The Ahamkara gloves can give you auto reload. So sometimes I'll throw on a mountaintop if I'm using Knife Trick a lot, and it's a lot of fun. If I am going to use Golden Gun, in PvE, it's going to be Way of the Sharpshooter, and it is going to be Celestial Nighthawk, because why would it be anything else? I don't know why it would ever be anything else. If I'm going with Arc Strider, there's a couple of different builds that I can do here. This one is a very memey build with Combination Blow, and that's the wrong one. Combination Blow, Liar's Handshake, and doubling down on the 1-2 punch. If I'm going to do that, then I will use something like a 21% Delirium or an Edgewise, and I will use the Machine Gun as my primary, because these are just shotgun kills. It's special. So, yeah, that's the 1-2 punch build for Hunters for me. It's really fun, and stuff like Gambit, if you think Gambit is ever fun, which I rarely ever do. But it's important if you're going to do a build like this, not that you have shotgun ammo, because remember, you're not going to be using your shotguns a whole lot. You're going to be shooting this one once, and then relying on your melee. So you want to have Heavy Ammo Finder and Power Ammo Scavenger ready to go on your helmet and boots, so that you can basically refill your primary. If I'm going to build this is the 1-2 punch build. If I'm going to build around actual super for Arc Strider for PvE, I feel like Raiden Flux is the only real exotic to use. It's great. It's great with that. You can pair that with any weapon in here and it'd be fine. Some other specialty builds that I will do, if I'm using something like Xenophage and something in my special that doesn't use auto-loading holster. So something like this, for example, that would be a good one. So if I was running Xenophage, Persuader, and this hand cannon up here, and I was just jacking around in PvE, you know, not doing like in-game content, I will sometimes throw on Dragon Shadow because dodging reloads everything and it's really convenient. And also having a second dodge charge is fun. But these are, you know, specialty exotics that I think are just kind of fun that I like to use every now and then. Stompies is really fun. You go a little bit faster, you slide a little bit farther, you jump a little bit higher, pretty self-explanatory. If I'm building around my dodge specifically, so if I wanted to do like a full-on Void Battery, you know, Worm Husk, or not Worm Husk, if I wanted to do like a full-on Void Battery, you know, just constantly be invisible type build, then that's where these are going to come in. But you need really high mobility to really take advantage of that. Max it out if you can. But you can essentially get your dodge back in, like, before you run out of invisibility sometimes. It's depending on how high your mobility is and depending on how fast you can run. It's pretty insane. It's a really fun build. I actually will bust this out in in-game content every now and then. So that's a lot of fun. For my class items, there's 3 in particular that I like to have. I like to have 1 for Hive, 1 for Fallen, 1 for Taken. I made a video showing how you can get all 3 of these, mostly solo. Check that out if you would like them. But I like to keep the armament mods and the barrier mods on my class items because it's really easy to just swap to it. You know, I'm fighting Taken, I know exactly where to go. I keep these in the same order all the time. So it always, on all 3 of my characters, it's Hive, Fallen, Taken, so that I don't have to think about it. I can just blindly swap them. So let's go ahead and round this video out with some other builds that I will do. I like using Sleeper. I think Sleeper is really fun. It's something that I will use. Every now and then I like using swords, but typically with the sword I will do it more on my Titan than I would on something like a Hunter, because Titan has that one exotic that helps you block infinitely, basically. I like using Sunshot. I like hand cannons in general. That's why I have the Nation of Beast here. I'll use these 2 as a replacement for Recluse, and if I'm not taking up an exotic slot. So if I was running something like this loadout here, I know I have plenty of DPS, so then I can use my exotic here on Sunshot just because it's fun. I will do the same with Austringer, and then I will swap to something like Persuader, and down here just fill in whatever I need. I have the exotic slot open, so I might go with something like Xenophage. I like hand cannons all around. For pulse rifles, I do like this Go Figure. I've had this for a long time. It's pretty much a god roll. This is really fun. It's just a great all-around weapon. I'll swap that in and out here and then. I actually prefer the Explosive Payload Better Devils over the Outlaw Rampage Austringer. I feel like explosive rounds is in a good spot right now. That's why I like this one too, and my Nightfalls and stuff. But yeah, the only thing that we have left to talk about is going to be skip grenades on Arc Striders and Shinobu's Vow. Super underrated. I cannot stress this enough. If you like running Arc Strider, you like skip grenades, go get yourself a Shinobu's Vow, and you will be swimming in grenades. It's a lot of fun, man. But there you have it, guys. That is the Hunter video. Hopefully you get out there and you start experimenting around with some of these loadouts. They're goofy, they're fun, I like them, and they actually work pretty well. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, I fucking love you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.